Not gonna lie to you guys. I'm usually hyper. I'm usually excited. I'm usually silly. They're beating it out of me, guys. They're beating me down. I'm tired. I am losing hope. But we'll talk about it. We'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. I'm James Gisanti. It is Thursday night, so you know what that means. The Mark It Down podcast becomes the Gym Pack Zone because we talk all things TNA and Impact. Guys, I said it in our little opener there. I'm getting beat down. I'm losing hope. I'm feeling dejected, and I don't want to. I want to believe that this company that I love is in good hands and in a good place. And I've heard some things. I've heard some speculation, some reports that, give me some hope, give me some faith. But oof. This episode did not really do it for me. There was some good stuff. Not going to lie. The knockouts killed it. Absolutely killed it. So happy for them. So excited to see them get time and to see them shine. But oof, the rest of the show, we'll get into it. Let's get into it. We'll start top of the show. First things first. Mike Santana gets in the ring, sits down on a chair, street clothes, everything. And he talks about how a month ago he was on top of the world. He was top of the mountain. He had just won the TNA World Championship at Bound for Glory. And then last Wednesday, a day before Impact returned, he hit a huge milestone. That's something we should all commend and be very proud of with Mike. 1,000 days sober. That's incredible. All the positivity, all the love to Mike Santana for that. And then he says the next day, it all went away. He lost all of it. They took all of it from him. NXT attacked. He lost the title. And all that he's worked for, all that he's fought for, was gone. He said he got really low. But just like initially fighting for his daughter, fighting for us, he was reminded what really matters, and he just wants it even more. He don't know if you guys heard that, but that was rough. He wants it even more. He is coming for Frankie Kazarian. He's coming back for his TNA World Championship. But first things first, he's going after all of the NXT guys who cost him his championship, all of the NXT guys who jumped him 2 nights in a row on Impact and last week at Turning Point, the next day. I think we're all under the impression it's a matter of when, not if, Mike is going to sign with WWE, go to NXT. I'm happy for him because he's been working his ass off to get to that point. What up, Maria? How you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Saying you don't care about this promo. It's trash. It doesn't make anything better. I don't want to call the promo trash because Mike did put his heart into it. I could tell. I could feel it. But I agree. Like, it just feels so empty. And he's saying that his priority isn't winning the title back. It's not the first thing he wants to do. He wants revenge on NXT. NXT is the priority. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I understand wanting revenge. I understand wanting to take out the guys who wronged you, but that title was everything. You're saying it's worth it to pick a fight with somebody else before it is going for your title that you lost through shenanigans. He made it clear he doesn't want it, but like I said, it seems very clear. We're bordering on Santana is probably going back, not back, but he's probably going to sign with WWE, go to NXT, and maybe that's why they took the title off him. I don't know. Now, I did hear something very interesting, and again, fully going to admit this is pure speculation from a source that isn't even with the company anymore. Scott D'Amore did an interview. He was asked about what's going on with TNA and the Kazarian / Santana storyline, the NXT storyline. And he gave a very diplomatic answer. You know, he put over Kazarian, somebody who's known personally for years. Same thing I said last week, that I don't want to take away from Kazarian, who's more than earned being TNA World Champion. What up, Tyler? How you doing, man? Thank you for being here tonight. Who's more than earned it, but it just feels like weird timing. But Scott D'Amore, former TNA president, no longer with the company, made a great point that he seems to be under the impression that more than likely TNA have secured a TV deal, and they probably are going to want Mike to win the title on the first episode of Impact on their new TV deal. That makes a lot of sense to me. I totally get that. I would. It's very similar to what NXT did with Trick and the NXT title. I get it. It's a big, big, big moment, but I don't know. I don't think he was necessary. I really don't. Or maybe don't have him win at Bound for Glory then. I get that that's a little harder to justify because you need him to win at Bound for Glory, especially if he didn't win at Slammiversary. But man, it's just awful timing. Awful, derailing timing. And maybe if Mike is actually on the way out and going to NXT, it doesn't really matter for him. But it's just not exciting. It's not exciting. It's disheartening. Maria saying Scott was the best thing to ever happen to TNA. I don't agree with every decision Scott made when it came to TNA, but the thing that I will 100% agree with you on and agree just about positive things towards Scott, he absolutely valued the company. He absolutely wanted what was best for the company, and he put his blood, sweat, and tears into the company to get it to the next level. And I would argue WWE wouldn't give one iota of a crap about TNA if it wasn't for all the hard work that Scott put into revitalizing that brand. He got them in a position that WWE would even want to talk to them. He got them in a position that many argue, could TNA become the number 2 company? I don't think so. But the fact that it's even a debate is off of the hard work of Scott D'Amore. So it's a shame how that all played out, but I think everybody landed more or less where they should. Moving on real quick. We then go backstage where Santino Marella is on the phone with Ava. I think I'm saying it right. I don't know how he's saying it with Ava from NXT. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He's making plans with her. He gets interrupted by the TNA World Champion, Frankie Kazarian. Frankie demands an apology that he was accused of being in cahoots with NXT. Clearly, the fact that they attacked him, it's got to be clear he wasn't with them. Santino says, I have enough problems tonight. Dango, JDC comes out. You know, they banter a little bit, but then Kazarian takes it just a step too far, brings up JDC's wife, JDC says, I like you. We have fun, ribbing each other, but I don't care that the cameras are here. Don't talk about my wife. It gets really heated, and JDC challenges him for the TNA World Championship. Kazarian brings up a great point. Why? In what world do you deserve a TNA World Championship shot? And JDC says he'll do whatever he has to. And Santino comes up with the idea because he's so frustrated with Eric Young. 2 birds, 1 stone. If JDC beats Eric Young, JDC gets a title shot at the next event, at the next premium live event against Kazarian. We're going to get into that because that's very specific wording, and it comes into the story later. But yeah, JDC priming himself for a number 1 contender spot. And guys, let me say, I like Dango. I think he can be funny. I think he was arguably one of the worst parts of Scott D'Amore's revitalized TNA resurged Impact. I didn't really like his gimmick then, but since turning and joining the system, he's served a really good role. I really enjoyed him. And in general, I was there at his WrestleMania against Chris Jericho. I remember when Dangoing was a thing. Frankie Kazarian versus potentially Fandango, JDC, Dirty Dango. What are we doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, maybe the concept is we are in a holding pattern until we get this new TV deal. Like locked in, started, moved on. But what are we doing? And I feel terrible because I like these guys. I like Kaz. I like JDC. But this is not a world championship feud. It boggles the mind. Wow, Tyler, thank you for that update. MLW Fusion making its return in 2026. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, please do. But Fusion was their weekly TV show? If so, that's good to know. Maybe we'll have another show we get to review here on the pod every week. You know it. Is that you, buddy? Texans 23, Billy's 16. Wow. Well, welcome. But yeah, good to know there, Tyler. Let's see. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll have a new show to talk about. Moving on to what was our first matchup of the night. It had been announced earlier in the evening that we were going to get 2 fatal 4-ways to determine where the winner of both fatal 4-ways would then go on to have a singles match to determine the number 1 contender for the Knockouts Championship. Mouthful as it may be, it's a great way to get at least 8 women on TV. It's a great way of pumping up the Knockouts division a little bit. This first match had Danny Luna taking on Indy Hartwell and Rosemary and Grace. God, what was her name? I messed it up. Oh, my notes. I'm sorry, guys. And she was a big part of the matchup too. So that's really on me there. Oh, Mila, thank you. Tyler saying he thinks TNA fumbled their product. We'll get into it a little bit more. I don't want to take away from this women's match, but I agree. I don't think they've fumbled their product. I think they're doing exactly what they want to, which is put themselves in a position to be bought out by WWE. But there was real potential for growth and for resurgence and for excitement. And I have not seen such a quick, justified turnaround in a long time than how they handled the month after Bound for Glory with no new content. And then having Santana drop on the first night just felt like a terrible decision. And you know what? I don't know. I'm seeing it across the board with everybody. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why it's a thing, but I pretty much know who I'm talking to here. Yeah, I think it's what like I think it has to do with like what their sign-in name was, but I don't know. But moving on, this matchup, this first knockouts four-way matchup, I was really excited at looking at the clock, just how much time they had. These women went on for I think at least one commercial break, possibly two. But even if they didn't, they got a lot of time on that second segment, and everybody just delivered right out the gate. She is not done. We just don't know what her contract is looking like. We know that it's up, but that doesn't mean she's not going to get re-signed. Her boyfriend's there, and while she could probably use NXT, I don't know. I think she still has a lot of time to grow, no matter where she goes. Tyler also saying that he likes TNA. They have lots of talent, but also former WWE talent as well. Yeah, no, I like what's the word I'm looking for? I like the mix of talent that's in TNA. Young up and comers, legends. There's a lot of reasons to want to tune in every week. Where there should be at the very least, theoretically. But yeah, right out the gate, Danny Luna just like a bullet taking out Indy Hartwell. As soon as that bell rang, she attacked her with I think a running boot or a running knee. I'm not sure. Either way, it was just so quick, and she got her. The matchup had a lot of nice back and forth. All four women kind of got a spot in. The crowd was really into I want to say all of them. Rosemary got some chance. Indy got some chance. I think people like Danny, but they're trying to be good about the heel dynamic. And Myla Grace, I don't want to definitively say this was my first time really watching her, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was. And she did a lot of exciting stuff. She ate shit doing a corkscrew off the top rope to the outside onto Rosemary. Rosemary barely caught her, but Myla absolutely just ate a lot of the ground on that. Finish of the match coming as Rosemary went under the ring and pulled out a chain, a steel chain. And as she's getting ready to use it, Myla uses the last of her strength to just shove Rosemary into the corner, into the steel post. The referee is distracted by everything going on, allowing Danny to grab the chain herself, wrap it around her fist, and just deck Indy Hartwell. The ref comes in after 1, 2, 3. Danny Luna is the first winner of the Fatal 4-Way qualifiers. I was a little conflicted on this because while I love Danny, and I think, and I even said when I was doing the review for Turning Point that she is going to very seamlessly just jump into the title scene. It feels weird that right after Indy beat her at the pay-per-view, Danny beats her again, or beats her in turn, and gets the number one contenders spot, or the number one contenders match. It feels like 50-50 booking that I don't know who it benefits. I mean, obviously in this instance, it benefits Luna, but like she just lost and she had to cheat here. Granted, she's the heel. That's what heels do. So I guess I'm overthinking it maybe to an extent, but I just don't like this 50-50 booking days after the pay-per-view. Just felt like a waste. You know what? That is the ultimate compliment. I appreciate that, and I will try to keep it entertaining for you. Great showing from the Knockouts. Like I said, really happy that they got a lot of time. But and again, I'm happy for Danny Luna. Just an interesting way to go. Moving forward, we go backstage and we find Eric Young, who is continuing on his crusade to get the cleansing of TNA going. Hardest working woman in TNA, Gia Miller, comes up to him, asks him about the match tonight, and he raises a fantastic point that I can't blame him, which is if JDC wins, he gets a title shot, but Eric Young, if he wins, doesn't. why? Like, I know and Santino said he's been a thorn in his side, but don't put him in a matchup like this if he has no reason to win. I kind of agree. It does feel a little conspiracy-ish. He says in the promo that he thinks Santino is nothing more than a puppet, and that he wants to expose all the wrongdoing in TNA. I think there are the bones of a really interesting character and a really interesting program that could lead him to a title shot, whatever. In this TNA where JDC is getting title shots and Frankie Kazarian is champion, why not? But it's just very weird way of doing this, especially with what the outcome was. But we'll talk about it as we get there. We then go elsewhere backstage as we catch up with Santino Marella again. This time he is joined by his daughter, Ariana Grace. He's telling her that he spoke to Ava about what's been going on with NXT, and his plan, their mutual idea is that if they're just going to keep coming in, if they're just going to keep getting past security, TNA is just going to open the door for them. If they want to come in, they'll set them up for matches, they'll set them up for fights. Interesting idea. I kind of like the thought process behind it because we know that they're going to show up every week. So why convolute it? Let's just say they're invited. We're going to get some matches, and we will. We get some matches at the next event coming up. But as they're discussing this, they are approached by the Hardys, the TNA Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, and the TNA International Champion, Steve Maclin. The Hardys and Maclin, they all want to know if they've got a solution to this problem with the NXT problem. When they're told what Santino's planning, what Ava's planning, they're all for it. They said, bring them in, we'll take them on. There's a question of why would they want to come, but then Jeff brilliantly says, we've got the bait, and he holds up the TNA Tag Team Championship. I like that idea. Lure them in with the promise of gold. It's risky, which is something the Hardys are very well versed in, and gives a storyline reason for NXT to want to play ball with TNA. So I like this. I liked how they set this up, and we're definitely going to see some matches made moving forward. We then go to a matchup that was sort of set up at Bound for Glory, as Matt Cardona took on Mance Warner. Again, this matchup was set up during the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, where Cardona overcame Steph DeLander's attempted distraction and tossed out Mance Warner. Apparently, animosity has only been brewing since then, and it culminated in this matchup. The match, it's so weird because I don't have a read on Warner. He's I guess, tough guy character, crazy guy character, but and while I love Steph DeLander, I think the relationship is the on-screen relationship is hindering him because she's the focal point. I don't know what his motivations are other than, I guess, winning, which is sometimes enough, but you can't be the crazy guy, the weird guy, and only care about winning. You need to have some other quirks and traits there. But hopefully with time, he only joined the roster this year, and it's definitely been an up and down year in terms of the mid card. I don't know. Maybe we'll see some growth there. But he's good in the ring. He hit a nasty knee on Cardona. While Cardona is on his own knees, Mance hits a running knee onto him. And it just right on the button hit him. It was a great shot. It looked tough. And I see what could be done with him. But I think there needs to be a gimmick overhaul in some capacity, or at the very least, an enhancement of the gimmick. The finish of the match coming with Steph DeLander distracting the referee and Mance attempting to use her purse to hit Cardona. Cardona's able to beat him to the punch and hit a radio silence, going for the pin, but Delander grabs Mance's leg and puts it on the rope. Cardona confronts her about it, is very frustrated. While the ref is trying to get her out of there, Warner succeeds finally in hitting Cardona with the purse and then hits the pay window, which is an impaler DDT, his finisher. 1, 2, 3, and Mance Warner beats Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona, who, by the way, they acknowledged was Zack Ryder on SmackDown and was in the John Cena tournament. Why do you have him lose then? I really just, like, don't get me wrong. A character like Warner needs to be put over. He needs wins to establish him as a tough threat. But why have him beat Cardona off of the high of Cardona being in that tournament? Even though he lost, it doesn't matter. Just the concept of this guy that was in WWE is wrestling in TNA. I might want to put eyes on him after that appearance. Why would you just waste it? I don't know. Just silly booking in my opinion. This matchup didn't need to happen now. Could have happened a little bit later. And I'm going to skip one segment to just get to another. We then go backstage where Cardona is cutting a promo where he expresses his disappointment in Delander and himself and Mance Warner, really. Thought that they had a real connection, that they were like brothers because of everything they experienced together outside of the ring. Obviously, Cardona and Delander have been close for years now, and Delander and Mance just getting married. Cardona played a big part in the wedding. Congratulations, by the way, to SDL and to Mance Warner. But he says, while SDL might have told Warner everything she knows about Matt, that doesn't mean she's told him everything there is to know about Matt. Matt says that he's going to challenge Mance Warner to a street fight and to remember he is the Deathmatch King. Solid promo. This match going to be happening at the next big event, which the name is escaping me at the moment. But I get that you needed maybe a setup match to get there, but maybe it could have been next week. I would have had Cardona win this first match after the John Cena tournament. But what do I know? I don't have the book. I ain't no genius. Going back, though, to that one segment I skipped. Let's see what this comment is. No, I completely agree, Tyler. Tyler saying, hey, James, I'm going to be honest with you. I think WWE is going to probably buy TNA next year. I think that's almost a certainty. I don't know that it'll be next year. I think they had a 3-year contract between WWE and TNA. It might have been 2-year, but I think it was a 3-year. And I think at the end of the 3 years, that's going to be when WWE attempts to make a purchase and then run TNA as a subsidiary. We'll see. It breaks my heart to think about because as I've said many, many times here on the pod, TNA was a brand that I've been following for decades. And I always respected how they presented themselves as an alternative. They were the scrappy little company that could and did everything they could to keep up, challenge for the top spot. And while they failed in that conquest, I respect that they tried. So to see them eventually just get absorbed by WWE does hurt, but it seems everybody in TNA is kind of down with the concept. So maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that I am. But yes, going to this NXT promo, I thought it was pretty informative. It starts with Robert Stone saying that he doesn't understand how they're being portrayed as the bad guys because TNA started it. They invaded first. And now that NXT is doing it, what, they're supposed to be the bad guys? He doesn't buy it. It's then said, by the way, I'm just going to say pretty much everyone who participated in the attacks were there. I just don't know who half of them are, so I'm sorry. One of the members of the NXT roster says that TNA attacked first and came to their city, Orlando, and they thought they were just going to let it go. Not going to happen. They call out Nick Nemeth, who they say they haven't seen since the attack. Yeah, he went to the main roster to wrestle in the tournament. They say that Charlie Dempsey asks about Mike's arm. He says, unlike him, he's a real wrestler, and he's going to go after that arm. Stack says that Santana wasn't supposed to be there, but his hands are clean. Robert Stone, this is the big one, denies being in charge of this attack, these assaults, this group. But because he's already conquered TNA, but these guys are looking to conquer a new land and make themselves a bigger deal. So somebody's pulling the strings, but it's not Robert Stone. So I like that. It opens the door to some very exciting, interesting possibilities. And I hope to see what it could turn into. Tyler saying his problem with TNA is that they need to fix their contracts with wrestlers. Tyler also saying lots of people in TNA, their contracts are set to expire soon. That's true. TNA has been running very short contracts, whether it's a year or 2 years, or even a few months in some instances. A lot of the guys working in TNA right now are working on handshake deals. For example, the Inspiration, the Knockouts tag team champions, people who hold gold in the company, don't have a contract. They're working apparently on a handshake. So TNA needs to lock some people in, but that does not seem to be their priority right now with this WWE partnership. They are quite content, apparently, just being a funnel for people to get to WWE. Not much we can do about that. Next on the list is we have a fun little matchup. I don't know why we're building to this, but I don't hate it. Myron Reed of the Rascals taking on John Schuyler of Order 4. This was a fun little, I don't want to call it an X Division matchup because there was no X Division implications, but it was a fun, fast-paced matchup between these guys. We've been talking about it on the pod now for a little bit, that it's clear effort and time and dedication are being put into the great hands to present them as more credible stars. A lot of talent backstage consistently sing the praises of the great hands, both Schuyler and Hotch. So happy to see him in action tonight. Hotch tends to get a little bit more of the glitz and glam. So I was happy to see Schuyler get this matchup. And like I said, this was a fun back and forth between the two guys. Things culminating, unfortunately, as we have video backstage of Order 4, specifically Agent Zero, having taken out the remaining members of the Rascals. The actual finish coming with Myron rolling up Schuyler, but Jason Hotch, who had come down to ringside, pushes the pin, pushes Schuyler into a position to counter the pin, and that allows Schuyler to then use the ropes for even more leverage to get the 1-2-3, pinning Myron Reed. So after last week's battle between the System and the Rascals, where the Rascals came out on top, I think we're now gearing towards the Rascals versus Order 4. And while I think the Rascals should win, it would be interesting to see Order 4 take 2 losses in a row. I don't necessarily think that's the right move either. And I don't know why Order 4 looks to be picking a fight elsewhere when it was sort of established last week that they're trying to build towards the Great Hands challenging for the TNA tag titles. So very interesting developments with all this, but either way, good matchup between Reed and Schuyler. Tyler saying, I don't want to see these pro wrestling companies go out of business. No, I completely agree. I've said since day one here on the pod, I've been saying for years in general, I'm not an anything fan. I am a wrestling fan. I'm not a fan of any 3 letters. I'm not a WWE fan. I'm not an AEW fan. I'm not a TNA fan. I'm not a New Japan fan. I'm not a Ring of Honor fan. I am a wrestling fan. And every company, to some extent, has something that I enjoy. At times, some companies highlight those things that I enjoy better or more frequently or to a higher degree. But I just want to enjoy wrestling. I don't want to see any company go out of business. I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs. I don't want to see wrestlers have one less place to go to work or realize their dream or cut their teeth to get to something bigger. TNA has, I used to joke, but now I don't even know if it feels funny. TNA is the cockroach of wrestling. They just won't die. They would not die. And I commend them for their perseverance and for their ability to stay relevant 20 years later. But I just never thought that it'd become a farm system for WWE. Like I said, some people consider that a win. Not everybody does. I don't think I do. But I want good things for TNA, and I'm trying to keep an open mind. But moving on, we then go backstage after a highlight of the matchup between X Division champion Leon Slater and Rich Swann. A fun, great matchup last week, where Leon Slater retained his X Division championship against Rich Swann. We go to AJ Francis confronting his partner in First Class about this, saying Swann let him and the brand down last week with that loss. And what made it worse was after the match, he shook Leon Slater's hand. He says, I don't get it. I don't know why you would do that. Swann tries calming him down, saying, look, I've been doing this for a long time, 20 years, over 20 years. And this kid is that good, and he beat me. So I just needed to show a little sportsmanship. AJ Francis says he doesn't care about sportsmanship. He doesn't understand why he's being talked to about sportsmanship. And Leon Slater keeps being presented as the future of wrestling when he's himself is the future of wrestling. AJ Francis, which is hilarious. And Slater calls him out on it. He said, how could you be the future of wrestling? You're like 37. You're old. I thought that was a great line. I thought that was funny. Both guys go back and forth with Slater sort of defending Swann and showing him props and showing him respect. It culminating with a matchup being challenged where Slater will defend the X Division Championship against AJ Francis. I've been advocating for Francis to win a title again in TNA because he just consistently delivers. But oh God, I'm so sorry. It's 11:30 here, and I'm getting a little tired. I'm super sorry for that yawn. But I've been advocating for for Francis to win a title, and he should win a title, but he should not take the title off Slater, first of all. And while I don't think that's the case, I think this is just to give Slater a very interesting matchup against a much, much bigger opponent than he's used to. I don't know if this is the move, and I really don't think it's the move to split up First Class. Francis works best when he's bouncing off of people, whether it's a sidekick or an opponent, and having that sidekick, whether it was Casey Navarro or Rich Swann, has done wonders for him. So I'd really rather not see them break up. But I guess if they're adamant about turning Swann face, and it just seems like it's naturally going to happen at this point, unless he curveballs us and betrays Slater, I think it's inevitable that the breakup is coming. So, time will tell on that one. But Swann is a former X Division champion. Swann is a former TNA World Champion. So it'd be nice to see him soar again a little bit. It'd be nice to see him fly. But let's see how this goes with Francis first. Wishing Leon Slater all the luck in the world in that matchup. We then went to a segment that, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't even really want to talk about because it was rough. I guess, yeah, it was rough. Most important thing, Ash by Elegance was with the rest of the Elegance brand. She was with M. She was with Heather. She was with the Iceman for this segment. So maybe she'll come back. I have no fucking clue what's going on. Things have been so tight-lipped about her status that I truly have no concept of what's going on. But obviously we're all rooting for her to come back. We're all hoping she can come back if that's what she wants. but just a weird matchup or segment, I should say. It was essentially a dating show, or it was essentially a Find Mr. Right show, as they're looking for the new Mr. Elegance, as they're going to call him. They had 3 men come out. The first one, Ash by Elegance, immediately recognized the voice, takes him to the side, apparently has her way with him, and then the guy gets disqualified. I have no... guys, I apologize if you know who he was. I don't. I didn't know who any of these 3 guys were, but it was just awkward. The second guy got immediately booted simply because he was wearing a salmon-colored suit. And then the third guy, I don't know if they were having mic issues. I don't know what it was, but I could not hear him. I don't want to say I couldn't understand him. I couldn't hear him. It was just so cringy and so weird. And cringy can be very funny. This was just awkward. The third guy got rejected after the longest, I guess, audition. And he made it clear, even if he got booted, that he still really wants and needs this job. It would be an honor to walk them out. And I don't know. Maybe they have a new bag boy or something. I don't know what the goal is with this, but it did not work for me. And I like silly segments. I like comedy bits. This just was not it. And maybe I'm wrong. If you guys liked it, please let me know. I don't want to be a hater for the sake of being a hater. I just did not work for me. We then go to our last knockouts match of the night, our second Fatal 4-Way qualifying matchup, as we have Xia Brookside take on Victoria Crawford, who is joined by Tessa Blanchard once again, taking on Killer Kelly, a more or less returning Killer Kelly, and Jody Threat. I enjoyed this matchup a lot. I think the first matchup was smoother, ran a little bit better, but I love all 4 women in this matchup. I'm a huge Killer Kelly fan. Jody Threat is super reliable. Victoria Crawford, there's something going on with Tessa Blanchard. I don't understand it. She couldn't wrestle at the premium live event for medical reasons, as we were told. She's been the corner person for Victoria, but they're just not doing anything. The last time we saw Tessa wrestle was against Gia Miller at Bound for Glory. You guys know I have undying love for Gia Miller, but this just, what are they doing? Like, if you're going to bring Tessa Blanchard back, if you're going to take all the heat for having her back, do something with her. Don't just parade her around the ring every week. What's the point? Again, all 4 women had nice spots. There was a lot of chemistry. There was a lot of nonstop action. I know, pun intended. Eventually, the finish coming with Xia Brookside hitting her finish onto Killer Kelly after Jody and Victoria were taken out on the outside, taking each other out. Xia got the big win. I got to give it, though. Jody Threat was getting the majority of the cheers, I felt, and she got in the majority of the action. It kind of felt like it was her match to win so she could face her former partner again, in Danny Luna, but they went with Xia. I get it. I feel like Xia is the bigger project for them in the long run, but worth keeping an eye out on Jody Threat, because if the crowd continues to react to her as positively as they did tonight, might be something worth investing in. Great talent. We then go to a similar vignette to what we had last week on Impact. That was with Mila Moore. This segment was about Jada Stone, her counterpart in their contract qualifier last year, I guess, in TNA. Jada speaks about her journey as a wrestler, trying to become a wrestler, getting her way to TNA, how she continued to just pester Tommy Dreamer until he finally gave her a shot, and how she's ready to make a splash as a knockout in TNA. Again, we've been talking about it week in, week out. TNA is absolutely in desperate need of bolstering when it comes to their knockouts division. The more, the merrier. If you've got the talent, if you can go, dance. We then get to our main events. And again, guys, I'm at a little bit of a loss here. because I'll just spoil the ending for you. JDC won. JDC won, beating Eric Young straight in the middle of the ring to get a shot at the TNA World Championship. Final Resolution is the show, December 5th. I am silly. I don't know why I was struggling to come up with it. Kazarian was on commentary throughout this. I love that Hannafin is just absolutely giving it to him. Now that he's the world champion and he cashed in the Call Your Shot gauntlet, Hannafin is just absolutely letting loose with all of his frustration with him, calling him a POS, biggest scumbag in the company, and POS. And Ray Walt, who is just a great counterpart to Hannafin, says, yeah, he is a POS, a point of sale for TNA. Helping, saying that Kazarian helped sell tickets. Finish of the match came with JDC backdropping Eric Young off of the top rope and then hitting him with a down and dirty, his top rope leg drop. 1, 2, 3. The match was fine. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing. I'm bummed that it just feels like they're doing whatever. Maybe they're killing time till the TV deal. Maybe they think this is what people want to see. The crowd cheered for JDC, and I'm not exactly going against the tide on that myself. Like, I'm going to cheer for him, but it's just silly. It's just super, super silly. We're coming off of Bound for Glory, your biggest event of the year, and we're following it up with JDC versus Frankie Kazarian. I don't get it, guys, but I really want to believe there's a master plan here. But guys, that was the show. Thank you so much for joining me this Thursday evening, almost Friday morning. We have gained an insane amount of followers in just a few short days, almost 100 followers this week, following our turn at Monday Night Raw. We appreciate you guys so much. Welcome. We have fun here. We cover I know I was a little down today, so I'm sorry. It just, the TNA product hurt me. Like, it was a slog for me. But you know the deal. If you're one of our regulars, we cover everything. WWE, AEW, TNA, the big stuff for Ring of Honor, the big stuff for New Japan. Now, thanks to Tyler, we may be covering MLW at some point. Good chance we might cover House of Glory tomorrow, as they have their show in Chicago. Either way, check us out here. Hit that if you're just checking us out for the first time. Don't know what brought you here, but we appreciate you. Hit the like button, subscribe, join the party. We have fun. If you're one of our regulars like You Know It or Maria or Tyler, any of our guys, we love you. We appreciate you. And the fun is just getting started. And of course, check us out on social media. Marketdown_pod for Twitter, Marketdown Pod for Instagram, Marketdown3665 for, I guess that's here. That's YouTube. But of course, check us out also on Blue Sky. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on TikTok. We do all the fun stuff. But guys, thank you so much for joining me this Thursday evening. I am James Gisanti. This is the Gym Pack Zone. This is Mark It Down. As always, watch wrestling. As always, have a great night.